Thank you so much, Jamie. I really appreciate it. So, Julia Russert, and I'm a parent coach. So I love the idea that two opposite and like conflicting ideas can both be true. I love playing around with that kind of thing. Like, you just had a great dinner, like you're so full, and you still want dessert. I don't know about you, but like sometimes I'm exhausted and then my brain won't turn off. Like, I call that like it's a wired and tired kind of thing. And it's like those are two things that in my brain like happen, fairly regularly when going, when there's some big things that have happened. With parenting, I love you so much, and you're driving me crazy. So, and sometimes like I need to get away. I can't do this. I think you're so creative. You're amazingly creative. And why do you lose everything? Like, what is happening? So those two things might not have anything to do with one another. Like, they might or they might not. With a younger kid, like, I so want to be your person. I so want to spend time with you. And I hate doing Legos. Like, I just do, or whatever it is that they like to do. Or like with teenagers, like, I want you to open up to me. I want you to like, it's like pulling information out of them sometimes, like how do you get those conversations going? And then sometimes they say something that you don't want to hear. Like, you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't known that. So, or maybe that's just my kid. So, and if you don't have kids, you can put in like, a partner. I mean, these are all sort of the same ideas. Partner, somebody you work with, your mother, like, there's sibling, like anybody that you spend time with regularly. So sometimes it's like, if you expect certain things from your kids, you expect certain kind of relationship with your kid. Maybe you wanted obedience from your kid, but you got spicy, strong-willed. Some of us expect our kids to be like us. And I'm pretty quiet. I like to read, I like to knit. I'm very organized, I like to cook, and I have one teenager who is loud, active, and is everything is a no. And he's 18, I mean, he's not like 8 years old, he's 18. And this is really, really typical of a kid with the traditional type of ADHD. Like, everything is a no, everything, the strong will kind of often goes with that. And I find him hard to take, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, especially at 6 o'clock in the morning, he has a bus that comes at like 6:40, and I get up every morning to make breakfast, cooked breakfast for him. And he is orbiting, like literally before he has his ADHD medications at 18 years old. He's like walking around, he's like pacing, he's got a bagel in his hand, and I'm just like, whew. So when he gets on the bus, I'm like, whew, like it's a lot. So, and I love him like so much, and I'm so proud of like all the things that he has accomplished, because with the way things that are going on with him, he has a lot of learning issues. Like, he's come a really long way. But I have to show him in a way, not only do I like, and he probably knows that I'm like irritated sometimes, by these things. I'm like, sit down, like eat your breakfast. And after a while, I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter whether he sits down or not. But I need to know that I'm the one who needs to do things to stay connected to him. Making him breakfast that's actually why I make breakfast for him, because I know he really, really appreciates that. So it needs to be something that he sees as something that's important, something that he values. So he loves it, it's our thing, and that's our way to connect. So I'm gonna give you 5 steps for loving your kid and sometimes needing their space too. Number 1, as I just mentioned, I gave you an example of connect with your kid. As a parent coach, I know that connection is the absolute foundation or the base of parenting. I think of it like as a bank account. So the more you connect with your kid, the bigger the bank account. And when you yell, because whatever your thing is, whether you yell or whether you get like really angry, whether, something's gonna trigger you, something's gonna happen, and something that you're like not proud of, but if you've built up your bank account, it just drops a little bit, and within like an hour, a day, depending on the kid, depending on how bad that like rift is, then if you've built up that connection bank account, then you can move past it and kind of get onto things. And a reminder that connection works in different ways for different kids. Like my daughter, like she doesn't want to, like the idea of like her eating scrambled eggs, she'd be like, ew, mom, like no. So like that's something that like I know he appreciates, and you know, with my daughter, it's like, you know, completely other, you know, different things. I sent her Instagram posts of dogs and math, and if there's one on like calculus and dogs, like that would be ideal. And so, and I just really want you to hear that when something goes sideways, especially with a teenager, you know, maybe there's a breakup, maybe they fail a class, you know, there could be, if there's a new health diagnosis, if there's a mental health challenge that comes out seemingly out of nowhere, that foundation of connection is the link to helping them move through it. Not get past it, not getting over it, but moving through it. So that's number one, is connection. Number two is accepting them for who they are in this moment. And sometimes, you know, it's like the pacing around, what I call the orbiting, like that's just what happens. And it sounds really easy, but this is often a missing piece, and especially for a kid who has had a setback, they, you know, it's like they're moving forward, and then there might be a big setback, and that's something that can be really hard because you keep expecting them to be like what they were doing before. And you know, tweens and middle schoolers and early high schoolers, like they change, things happen. And accepting that, you know, you don't have to like it, but the more you can accept that for who they are in that moment, then the better off you'll be as well. And understanding what makes them tick and what are their strengths and weaknesses. So number three, learn what triggers you. Like, I don't like loud noises. I just don't. So like, that's part of my morning thing. And you'll know what triggers you when you feel like that anger. Like everybody has something, and it's not just your kids, like I said, like everybody has something, like it's something that just super irritates you, that you're, you know, and like, so being aware of that, and if it's something that you feel like you need to change, that's something that you can work on for sure. Because when we have emotions that rise up, it's like we know that there's something going on, whether it's, you know, tears or the anger. So, and it can take time to articulate kind of what that is and understand what that is. And that's part of the work that I do as a parent coach. So, what am I? 3. To begin regulating your emotions, you might need that space of like stepping away. So like loving that person and like needing space. Sometimes we need that space to say, okay, like what is, if your kid blows up and it triggers you, you know, your immediate response might be to yell back at them and to, you know, and that often happens. And when you have a kid who's, you know, I think most kids, most teenagers, like emotional regulation is not like their strong suit. So the more that you yell back at them, the more they're gonna get more emotionally dysregulated. So, and dysregulation is just like that yelling, the big emotions, when I use that term. So they might get suspended from school, or they might like fail a math test. So emotions come up, and you might have thoughts, and you don't even know those thoughts yet, but you're having thoughts sometimes about like, oh, what does this mean for their future? And are they ever gonna be successful? Are they gonna get into that college? Like what kind of school, like you have all kinds of things, and taking a step back, like literally sometimes can be really helpful. And so even, and this is just a key skill, I think, for adults in general, is stepping back when you're having those, when you're in those big feels, and when you're feeling triggered. So sometimes even just going to the bathroom doesn't matter whether you go to the bathroom, taking a sip of water. There's all kinds of things that are helpful, but none of those are like short-term things that you can do. The long-term like fix, if you will, is to really be aware of what your thoughts and your emotions are. And those are things that, again, that I work with people on parent coaching. It takes lots and lots of practice, and it's all about progress, not perfection, because we're still gonna get angry because that's part of the human experience, and that's okay. And then respond to your kid as the parent that your kid needs. And when I say that, it's like sometimes there are consequences that need to happen, and sometimes they do something that needs some sort of discipline, and I call that, I use the term consequences. So maybe there's a consequence for failing a math test. And sometimes the school has its own consequences, and like I let the school just take care of like whatever's going on. But sometimes it's like, well, maybe there's a system that needs to be put into place for studying, and or sleep is something that needs to be worked on. So those are things that happen not in the moment when you are angry, when you are really upset about something, but that happens when they are calm and you are calm and not in the moment. Because if something happens in the moment, it's, you are punishing them usually out of anger, and that's not a system. That's you completely like dysregulated with your own emotions. And it's something that's spelled out in advance so that they know what it is that they need to do. And then the consequence happens, and they know what the consequence that will happen when they don't do that. So what I want to finish with today is circle back to the connection, because it is the basis for all of these things. So if you do need to put a consequence in, if your kid comes home late, and they're driving your car, and like there's lots of, there's like, as you can imagine, there's all kinds of things that can happen with that. It's like when you are setting a system into place, when you do it from a calm place and you are connected to your kid, that is the place to be. And I also want to mention that, and I can't emphasize this enough, and I was thinking about this on the way here this morning. When you have a kid who has any kind of mental health challenges that comes up, any kind of thing that is really a big struggle for your kid, a big struggle for your family, that connection becomes even more important, and I just can't describe this enough because I've been through this myself. That is the basis for helping your kid. And it sounds so basic, right? You're just like, well, that can't possibly work. It can, and I have seen it with myself, and I've seen it with other families. So I have here top 10 tips for connecting with your teen. Works for middle schoolers as well, like tweens as well. I don't have anything for younger kids because you don't usually need so many, like playing the Legos is like, or whatever it is. It's like, that's not usually such an issue, but connecting with teens can be a challenge. So thank you so much for having me.